Hello, this is Mario Ramirez, licensed asbestos contractor, and today we're going to talk about something that is special. For the past 20 years or so, I've been working both in the environmental construction industry as well as in the real estate industry. In those two industries, deals have to happen. They all want to be smooth deals, they want to be fast, they want to be on time, they want to really be perfect deals because of the amount of planning that is into these deals. Now, when the word asbestos comes into these deals, there is going to be a delay. And these delays usually occur because of no poor planning, but because there is a stakeholder that in the past have to deal with an asbestos problem. In the case of the stakeholders, we can call a stakeholder a buyer, a seller, building official, permitting for a demolition, permitting for a renovation, the a building manager or a building renter. Okay, a space renters also could be a stakeholders in these situations. And then why is an asbestos survey, inspection, or test required when these deals happen? And the reason is because asbestos is this fibrous rock, stone, that can pierce into the lungs of the people that are working or occupying a space that has asbestos problems. So this material, known to be a carcinogen, has been a big problem in the workers of the United States and many other countries. Let's talk about what does our company do? So many people call me and ask me, Mario, do you offer a free inspection? Okay, we offer a free consultation and a free quote after asbestos presence is established. So let's make that clear. What is a free consultation? When I received a phone call, I make sure that I talk to the people to see whether or no a survey is needed for the type of project or the type of situation that we're dealing with. In which cases are we needing an asbestos survey? An asbestos survey is needed for any type of demolition, renovation, or permit from city or state. So whenever they call me and say, Mario, do you offer free testing? It's very important to know the difference. What we do is a consultation. We say this survey is going to be X, somewhere between $500 and $1,200, what you should expect for most surveys. And then when we agree on a price and then listen to the event or the project, for instance, let's put an example. I'm going to replace the flooring in my kitchen. Do I need an asbestos survey? Yes, you do need an asbestos survey. And definitely if the house is built prior to 1995 or so, I think the last year that I've seen some flooring with asbestos is 1995. It could be in other floors after 95, but it will be very, very rare. So 95 is a good cutout year for you to get this done. Now, whenever we test for the floor, we only test the, let's say, linoleum or the tile, and then the mastic underneath this tile. We only test those three things. That being said, an asbestos survey could could encompass many other materials such as joint compound, drywall, ceiling texture, window glazing, caulking, HVAC units, HVAC tape, pipe insulation, popcorn, other ceiling textures, roofing materials, felt, mastic, roofing, caulking, other materials that are used in the exterior of the home as siding, felt, even some concrete, leveling concrete, as well as some foundation concrete, and obviously insulation could have asbestos. So a survey will be where we go after we agree on this price with a free consultation. We go and then we collect these samples, we drive them to the lab under a chain of custody, then we analyze these samples and to make sure that we know what percentage of materials is in these samples. So After we analyze this, we have a lab report, and this lab report gets analyzed by our technicians and engineers. And then with this lab report, we create a report that could be read and understood by all the stakeholders, such as the buyers, the sellers, the building and building officials, the permitting personnel, and many other people, building occupants, and some of the future tenants too. So that is why we do a free consultation on this on the survey. Now let's talk about when people already have a survey, and it's understood that a survey is a very good inspection of a building to see whether or not there are suspicious materials such as the ones that we mentioned: flooring, walls, ceiling textures, wall textures, joint compounds, mastics, roofs materials, sidings and stuff like that. So we already know that this is sort of what is inspected in the survey, and then a report is given. This report is given, and let's say the roof and the siding tested positive for asbestos containing materials at 25% or at 3% or at 2%, regardless if it's positive for asbestos. Then we proceed to do a free quote for the removal of these materials. So we want to make sure that it's understood that the abatement, the removal, or providing a free asbestos building is after we do an asbestos inspection, survey, test, however you want to call it or understand it. It's such an important portion of the building due diligence, as well as any renovation due diligence, to do a test that tells you exactly whether or not you have asbestos and where is this asbestos. I'm going to finish by summarizing this. Many times whenever people call me and say, "Oh, Mario, do you offer free asbestos inspections or asbestos testing?" So nothing can be done with the naked eye. Asbestos has to be analyzed in the lab. It has to be put under a microscope, and we need to figure out what percentage of asbestos is in this material. So that being said, we don't and can offer a free test because it requires a lot of logistics, meaning we have to drive to the site, we have to do all the collection of the samples, we have to drive to the lab, we have to analyze it in the lab, then we have to make sure that we know how to read this the initial report that is provided by the lab, and then we have to make a report that could be understood for everybody. So that being said, whenever we have this report and we know that there is asbestos on site, then we can definitely give you a quote. So for instance, I have to remove the flooring of my kitchen. You can expect something between $2,800 to $5,800 on the removal of these flooring materials. And the reason why is because you will have to generate some Class D or some hazardous materials waste, and this hazardous materials waste has to be then prepared in a container, and a container has to be prepared to dispose of, logistics, permittings, as well as many of the safety that is required to remove these materials.